And now for our Western Division preview in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Let's start out with the Tigers of Grambling State, led by Rod Broadway. 10-2 last year. He's in his third season. 8 returning on offense, 7 on defense. Greg Dillon, over 600 yards rushing. Kiari Thompson, their go-to receiver this year. And Cornelius Walker is their running back.
Now you look at Greg Dillon as a quarterback that led the team in rushing. You want to say 15 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So he's a real good player. They go 5 deep at running back. So they have a lot of depth at running back. They're a really good running team. And Rod Broadway has done a phenomenal job with Grambling. He got that team going in the right direction. And the O-line has a lot of experience, a lot of big guys on the offensive line.
On defense, they're led by all-league selections defensive end Chris Anthony and their second-team all-league cornerback Kenny Anio. 4 interceptions, 6 pass breakups, and free safety T.J. McCord, 5 interceptions, 7 pass breakups. These guys are ball hawks. They get all over the field.
They have the best defense in the SWAC, bar none. These guys play defensive football first. They're a really good team. You look at 13 points a game, 3 yards a carry they're giving up, 88 yards rushing total, 50% pass completion rate against with opposing quarterbacks. All they do in the SWAC is toss the ball around the field, and these guys limit those. They take away the passes. A lot of athletes back there in the secondary. I like those. And that future star back there at defensive end, Christian Anthony, really good player. He's going to be another NFL player in the future.
Well, Henry Frazier led the Prairie View A&M Panthers to a 9-1 season last year. He's entering his 6th this season. 9 returning on offense, 6 on defense. Jay Bluford will battle Western Kentucky transfer Ken Black for the starting job. But running back Donald Babers is back to help them out. Almost 1,100 yards, 1085, and 11 touchdowns. Offensive guard James Deagle and 4 returning starters in that O-line.
They have a big offensive line down there at Prairie View. Big guys. So a lot of beef up front. The running game is going to be awesome. They have a lot of pieces in place already. They have a good running back, good offensive line, some talented wide receivers. All they're missing is the quarterback. Can the quarterback come in and step up right away? So whoever's going to win that quarterback job, they're going to have a lot of weapons at their disposal. The problem is they don't have a quarterback.
All league selections on defense. Quinton Spears is defensive end, 5 sacks, 5.5 tackles for loss, and 5 pass breakups. Very versatile. And first team all league strong safety Anthony Beck, 5 picks, 2 to the house, and 6 pass breakups. 2 stars on their defense.
And the question mark on that defense is the linebacking core because of their youth. There are a lot of inexperienced group at the linebacker spot. The defensive line is a solid bunch, and they can stuff the run. 2.5 yards a carry. You look at 65 yards a game total. Impressive.
The Jaguars of Southern are led by Pete Richardson, who's in his 16th season. They were 6-5 last year. 6 on offense, only 3 on defense, but their offense is headlined by a quarterback who puts up crazy stats. Bryant Lee, first team all-league, 2,600 yards through the air, over 500 yards on the ground, and 26 combined touchdowns. They lose 2 offensive linemen, but they're Bryant Lee's favorite target, Jua Morris Stewart, who's a first-team all-leaguer, over 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns, is back.
Well, that offense, passing-wise, is still going to be prolific. Brian Lee is a phenomenal quarterback. They got a lot of holes on that offensive line. Well, the Swiss cheese pretty much offensive line. And somebody has to step and play running back for the Jaguars. They have to find a running back, somebody that can take the pressure off the passing game. Otherwise, guys are going to tee off, blitz, or play back in zone. There's no threat of the run. They have to find a running back.
Defensive tackle Gary Chapman, 13 stops behind the line of scrimmage and 4 pass breakups. Linebacker Marcus Clark, but they have an inexperienced secondary.
They have an inexperienced defense overall. Every level of that defense, they lost somebody that was key to that success last season. So they're going to have to find some players. It's going to be a long year for the secondary. There's a lot of youth in that secondary.
The Golden Lions of Arkansas Pine Bluff are led by Monty Coleman, who's entering his 2nd year. Disappointing in his first year, 3-9, but it's always a transition. 6 on offense, 7 on defense back. Rontrell Bailey will be their starting quarterback. Mickey Dean, their second leading rusher, he's going to get the nod at running back. but they have an experienced offensive line will help, and their top 3 receivers are back.
Oh, there's a lot of beef up front. I know we said a lot about SWAC linemen, but this team at Arkansas Pine Bluff has a lot of beef, so that's going to bode well for Mickey Dean. They need to find a real true running back, but I do like Mickey Dean. I think he's going to improve this year. They also have to find a quarterback. That's a big question mark for those guys, and the passing game will struggle this year.
On defense, first team free safety Kevin Thornton had 6 picks, 6 pass breakups. Joseph Brown, 2 interceptions, 11 pass breakups. They get their hands on a lot of balls. Defensive end Jared Thorne had 11 tackles behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, that pass defense is a real strength of that team, and I think their defense could surprise some this year because they got a lot of talent in different spots of that defense. But I like that pass defense. The senior leadership of that secondary is going to carry that team. And Jared Dorn, like you said, 6.5 sacks, can get to the quarterback, but this defense could surprise.
The Tigers of Texas Southern. How many Tigers are there in this conference? Johnny Cole was 4-8 last year in his first year. Now it's his second year. 6 on offense, 6 on defense back. They're going to be Iowa transfer Arvell Nelson is going to try to lead them to some victories. Marcus Wright, their leading rusher, is back. William Osborne, great receiver, over 1,000 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns. And Brian Hayes, the second-team All-League selection, over 600 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Well, they're going to lean on those 2 talented running backs in Marcus Wright and Lucas Caparelli. Those guys can really run the football. Whoever is going to step in at quarterback is coming into a good situation. They have a talented group of wide receivers, a lot of speed and talent. The inexperienced offensive line, that's going to prove to haunt them in the SWAC, especially with the defenses they have to face.
DeJuan Fulgham had 104 tackles, 5 sacks, and 10.5 tackles for loss. This guy is all over the field. And second-team all-cornerback DeMarcus Washington, 5 interceptions and 7 pass breakups.
Yeah, that defense is going to need Demarcus Washington to step up even more, so be Superman back there, because that defense struggled last year, 39 points a game. They gave up 200 yards rushing a game. That's going to get you beat week in, week out, which is why they were last in division. Also, but they have a talented secondary, but the question is, can they stop the run?
And now for our preseason SWAC picks. Offensive Player of the Year, a lot of offense in this conference. Who are you going with?
I'm going with quarterback Bryant Lee, Southern. I think he's going to continue to be the best quarterback in that conference. He's phenomenal talent. A lot of guys in the NFL are looking at him as a possible draft pick.
I like Bryant Lee also, but let's go with the running back from Alabama A&M, Ulysses Banks.
Okay, that's a good pick.
Defensive side of the ball, who you taking?
I'm taking Marcel Young, Jackson State. He's a phenomenal playmaker. He's going to be the next great defensive player out the SWAC.
I agree with you. Marcel Young, size, speed, on a good team also. Now for your Eastern Division preseason prediction winner.
Jackson State, hands down, is a class of that side of the conference. Defense, running game, offensive line. If the quarterback can increase his play a little bit more, they're going to be phenomenal. But I think this is one of the top. They're going to be a top 25 team.
I like Jackson State, but let's go with Alabama A&M.
Okay.
And now for our Western Division, I'm going to go, how could you not go with the historical, traditional Grambling State? I like them to take the Western Conference. Western Division, who do you take?
I take Grambling as well. When you have the best defense overall in the conference and a strong running game that goes 5 deep, that's a recipe for success. They're going to win that division. They're going to win the Western Division.
That's our Southwest Athletic Conference preview. For more FCS previews, visit footballgameplan.com/smallcolleges.